Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmasimi Mirosi Rusbas Mordechai. This email is from Izzy Itzkowitz. He writes, it's geschmack to be an MD wire. Got my swag from B3 Bikes in Howell today and didn't have to recruit anyone. So you see, he's making these water bottles for the bikes. Now check out this store for a second. Now this is a bike store. B3 Bikes. You can get MDY swag there. I think he's working on jerseys, the whole 9 yards, everything. Learning at MetLife Stadium even without the Siyum HaShas. I've been diligently trying to do the Daf Yomi. Yevamos has been really challenging. My nephew, Eli Weinberg, suggested I should follow your shiur. Illustrations. Today my son is playing with his flag football team at MetLife Stadium. What a great opportunity to learn in MetLife without a Siyum HaShas. In the background, Shmuel Jacoby, Teaneck, New Jersey. Likra Shabbos Matzav. This is an anonymous. Maybe take out the email. No, it doesn't say his name. One of the most bizarre things happened to me this week. On Sunday, I bumped into an old friend of mine, started the Chappah Shmooze, rattling about 5 minutes into the Shmooze. He suddenly stops, takes a better look at me. Hey, what are you looking at? I said, well, did anyone ever say you sound exactly like Eli Stefansky from the famous 8 minutes? No, I said, well, you're just like him. I wasn't sure what I would make of his comment. Was it a compliment, an insult? I probably would have just dismissed the comment. But the very next day, after I finished giving a really geschmackish shiur to my 8th grade class, one of the bachrim walks over to me with a huge smile and says, Rebbe, it'd be okay if I videoed you giving shiur? I was been in shock. Moish, why do you want to video my shiur? Rebbe says, I really started doing the daf for Eli Stefansky, and you speak, teach, and even look just like him. Just that your hair color is not as white as his yet. LOL. Ooh, I'm a half your age, he says. I want to video your shiur and send to Rebelli so everyone can watch and get a good laugh. He says, my answer, of course, was a resounding no way. Now, I must say, I was quite curious. Comments, what it mean? Did it mean I was a good Rebbe, decent looking, or maybe fakert, who knows? So he sat down to watch the shiur. Good morning, Rabbi. Say, I love the vibes. Geschmack, yes. A compliment would be an understatement. You want it from, okay, anonymous. Our Talmud Moishi will probably get a lot of chizuk if you read this letter in your shiur. I don't know who you are, Rebbe, but you got to send a video of yourself. You got to send the video. No anonymous. Okay, we won't say your name, but you know what a chizuk will give all these people that are watching? Shkoyach Gadol. B'mechilas kfoitcha, says the emailer. The story with Rab Meir Shapiro's Rebbe, the Chukover, who gave the defense against the way to interpret Atem Kurim Odom, Yeshakoyach, Shmuel Eidler. So I wrote on the bottom over here that I got it from the Sefer Vigata from Rabbi Yangel Galinsky, Parshas Tazria, page 197. If you want to look it up, he says it's Rameir Shapiro, so you have to ask him, Mechila, not me. By Gershon Rose, see the video attached is my son Yitzi at the Angel of the North near Gateshead, and he says on the bottom, P.S. It's not a desire for all those asking. Our family minhag to stop off there when driving up, yet this time it's taken on a whole new meaning. The statue has now been recruited to MDY as a real part of the team.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We got to get the first part.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Okay. No. Okay, that's it. Why is it not a Zara? I don't know, Levi. Why is it not a Zara? If you're asking, you should just know the psak. It's not a Zara. He's part of MDY. How's it? Are you saying the cult? Everybody's Avodah Zara. It's not a. What is it? It's a model of a. It's a modern day thing. Okay. It's not a man day Avodah Zara. But there's a problem making a tzuras Adam. I don't know. I didn't see it. It has wings. It has a wing of a plane. What is it? The koil sponsor of the month is the coveted Lzchus shiduchim for this individual's mishpacha. Parnasah chodesh. Lzchus Reb Zechariah Shimon HaKohen Wallestein Zechus by his kids. Parnasah chodesh is Zechus to Ahron's Hatzlacha, to you the magid in the video edited Hatzlacha and continuation of shiur Lzchus Mr. Avraham Yitzchak ben Benimin. Ahron Fraiman Lzchus continued parnasah siyadta dishmaya Hatzlacha to Reb Eli Shkoyach. Parnasah chodesh, the Boyer family. Lzchus Reb Elio ben Reb Avraham Neri Yair. Dear friend, family passed away at 59. By the Wolkenstein family. By the Lock. and Lebovic families in Lakewood, New Jersey. We just saw the bike store. Because Torah is the best segulah. Parnasah anonymously, Lili Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef. Parnasah anonymously. As HaKaras HaTov to Hashem, and as a Zechus for continued health and bracha. What if all these anonymouses are one person? They have a lot of HaKaras HaTov for different things. Moshe Weiss, Lili Nishmas Zisel Bas Yosef. Anonymously. Shalom Doiv Malko. I don't know what it says here. Yecht? Is that I don't know what that is. Shalom Doiv ben Malko Yud Chof Tesset says by me. Lefu Shleimo. Mordechai Binder. Lila Nishmas. Yisrael Shleimo ben Mordechai. The Neshama should have an aliyah, whether we know how to pronounce it or not. They should all have an aliyah. Today, Ayoim, Shloisha, Ve'esrim Yoim, Sheheim, Shloisha Shvois, Ushnei Yomim, Bo'oimer, Shkoya. Ravoisai, we have a very big Agad at the Daf today, Daf Samach Gimel, and we're going to we have guests. Who are the guests today? One of them is hiding. What's your name? Shalom Aleichem.
Ronnie Katz.
Ronnie Katz. From?
Originally Memphis.
Memphis. And now?
Dallas.
Dallas. Memphis and Dallas.
I'm here from Texas.
Huh?
I'm here from Texas.
Texas. Who are you across? I recognize you, Shtickle. What's your name? Kessler? Tesler. Tesla. Tesser. From? Lakewood, New Jersey. You know the bike store? Avada. Three what? He has 3 stores. That's why it's called B3. Got it. You know all 3. Givaldig. Tanur Rabbanon. A lot of Geshmak Sugis today. One who loves his wife as much as himself. And he respects her more than himself. In other words, Rashi says a woman has more embarrassment than a man, so he should spend more money on her for clothing and jewelry, etc. Gashmi stuff. And he guides his children in the proper right path. And he marries them off close to their becoming adults. Kids are 12 and 13 in those days. You shall know there will be peace in your dwelling. You have to be mechabed your wife more than yourself. And you, no, we didn't do it. We might have said it also. You love your neighbors. And he brings closer to him his relatives. So what's so special about marrying your niece, the daughter of your, see the Gemara, Yevamos, the daughter of your sister, your niece. So it says, it entices any niece, but there's different 3 pshatim here really on the daf. Rashi says that he will love his wife more because he has a good relationship with his sister more than his own brother. So according to Rashi, it's only his sister's daughter. This Gemara, you're allowed to marry any niece, you're allowed to marry your brother's daughter, but it's better to marry your sister's daughter because of the relationship. I don't know what Rashi's talking about. I don't know if today people have better relationships with their sisters. I don't know. Okay, as I state though, Taisa says something very interesting. The Rabbeinu Tam says that your sister's kids have the same mazel as you. You're supposed to check, when you get married, you're supposed to check the woman's brothers. So in Mela, so you share the same kind of characteristics. It's a better shidduch. You lend money to a poor person when he's in a jam. Hashem will say, usually Avraham says Hineni. You say, Hashem will say to you, Hineni, here I am. You're taking care of all these people. Now look at this pasuk for a second. The pasuk, this is in Yeshaya. A famous pasuk. So Rashi says that this hints to all 4 things that the Gemara just said. Kisir Arim Chsisoy Umsarcha like the Salam. 3 out of the 4 is Umsarcha. You don't ignore your relative, your niece. Rashi also says your neighbor is considered like your karov. Because it's all in the pasuk, and then 2 psukim afterwards it says Ostikru Hashem Yanat Shava Vayoymar Hineni. Simon, Isha, the Karka. We're going to talk about all these things: good wives, bad wives, real estate, Ezer, Zois, Shtei Brachos, Tagore, Tachasi. Omer Rebbe Lazar. A lot of drushes from Rebbe Lazar. Kol Adam Shein Lo Isha Eino Yadam. If you don't have a wife, you're not considered a man. Shenema Zochon Nekeva Bram Vayikra Shmam Adam. So when you have both a Zochon and a Keva, then their name is Adam. If not, you're missing. You're missing half of you. Omer Rebbe Lazar. Kol Adam Shein Lo Karka Eino Yadam. If you don't have land, you're not a person. So Taisa says it means land to build a house on. It doesn't mean like agricultural land. Shenemar Hashomayim Shemayim Lashem. By the way, anytime we learn Agato, we need to understand that we're not going to understand. There's a lot of things that are a lot deeper than what we could comprehend. There's the simple meaning, we try to translate it just words, and then there's a lot deeper. Each sugya, each thing, some things just don't make sense to us at all, and we learn it, we try to understand whatever we can. So I'm going to make him a help mate across from him, kenegdoi. So she's going to be across. In other words, Zacha, if he was Zoicha, Izartoi, she's going to help him. But Zacha, if he doesn't have the Zchusim, kenegdoi, she's going to be against him. Everything he says, she'll say the opposite, she'll fight with him about everything. He'll have a disastrous life. Vigid Amri Rebbe Lazar Rami. Some people say that Rebbe Lazar, the one that was saying all these drashas, he has the contradiction. Ksiv, kenagdoi. If you read it without nekudois, it doesn't say kenegdoi. It says kenagdoi. Kenagdoi means malchus. So Hashem is going to give you a wife that's going to beat you. Vikarina in kenegdoi. And then all of a sudden she's going to be there for you. So what's the pshat? It's contradiction. Why do we read it differently than what it actually says? Zacha kenegdoi. Zacha menagdasai. If you have the Zchus, she'll be there to help you. If not, she'll beat you. Physically, mentally, emotionally. So I just want to remind everybody that yesterday we learned that the Torah was given 24,000 Talmidim, Rebbe Kiva died, and then he gave the Torah through who? So it's kedai to remember. It's very easy. You have, in all the Mishnayos, you have Rebbe Meir and Rebbe Yehuda always argue. So those are 2 out of the 5. You have Rebbe Shimon by Yochai, easy. And you have Rebbe Lazar, here we're talking about Rebbe Lazar, he's bringing all these things, and Rebbe Yossi. Those are the 5 main Talmidim. So here's Rabbi Yossi. Comes up now. Rabbi Yossi, actually, where else? Rabbi Steiner, where did we learn about Rabbi Yossi and Elio? No. Ashkechei Rabbi Yossi Elio. Brachas. No. You missed the Chazar. You did Chazar 100 times in Brachas. By the Churva. Who said Churva? By the Churva. So he was shchiach with Elio. Ashkei Rabbi Yossi Elio. Omer le ksiv eseloi ezer. V'ma isha izarte la'adam. This bothered me. Like, what was the havamin of his question so much? How does a wife help a husband? Omer le Adam. I really believe this is a lot deeper than what it says here. But he says, Adam evi chitin kaises. What? A person brings a bunch of raw wheat home. What, he's going to eat the raw wheat? Who makes you bread? Pishta loivesh, he's going to put on flax on his body. You need the wife to grind it, to bake it, to do it. So you see that the wife is there, she brings light to your life, and she puts you up on your feet. Some want to say, they taina based on, River Falls down in the house. Come, get over here. No, come. My brother, the first time he's there, the brother. What? I want to say a pshat in your name. River Fall. You can't sit in the back as if you agas. Shalom Aleichem. Get over here. Wow, what a surprise. This is my chashuv. A lot of people ask him, you can say it, they ask, who's older? No, what do you say? You could say. He says, I might be younger, but I'm more mature. What? Mekarev is Kroiva. I gotta be nice to him now. Wow. No.
She's helping in the kitchen preparing a meal.
No.
She's in as
Okay. What are you doing here? Get out of here. I don't want to carry you like that. Sit over there next to Mendy. Listen to what Mendy once said. Mendy said once in a siyum on Masechtas Beitza, he said something to the effect that if you don't help, you have to help me out here. That helping, what does Ezra mean? If the other person helps you, then you're helping him. If you just do everything by yourself, Bekitzer, based on that Berech Pshat that he doesn't even know himself, how am I supposed to know? Maybe the Pshat is he's asking, how am I helping my wife? I just want to be nice to the women that are watching now. How am I helping my wife? She does everything. She breaks the bread. He says, no, don't forget that you're bringing in the dough. You do the main thing. You bring in the chita. Fine, she breaks all the bread, but okay, fine. No? Shalom Aleichem. All right, Taka, it's a good thing you're here because there's a pshatter in the bottom. Look all the way in the bottom. I remember Abba used to tell me stuff about Reb Chi and I wanted to call him up and I forgot. Okay, Zok the Gemara. We'll get there, you'll remember.
Pressure.
Bomer Reb Elazar, my dechsiv, zois hapam, etzem atzomai ubosor mipsori. This is this time. In other words, I tried out other things and it wasn't. Zois hapam. What does zois hapam mean? Etzem atzomai ubosor mipsori. It's Adam and Chava. Now, I finally found Chava. Now I'm good. Melamed sheba Adam al kol behema v'chaya v'leniskar daitoi at sheba al Chava. So there's a machlokes here. Exactly. It's literal that he was ba on every animal, which is Issa D'Oraisa? Some say yeah, and others say no. It means that he got to know every animal. He named all the animals. I was just reading yesterday the article on Rabbi Wowlerstein, Zechariah, and he writes over there, in the middle of the article, because he had horses, he used to do horse therapy, and he mentioned that sus is a meloshen of sus. It brings simcha. People know, it's known that they're always happy, and you ride a horse, you get happy. He understood that it's not just names. Oh, this is a sus, this is a pill. Each animal he brought out, he named them based on their characteristics. Now he knew every animal. He said, no, but it's still not good for me. Then he met Chava. Because didn't want to just give him Chava that he should just take it for granted. He said, look, try everything out, check everything out, and you'll see that the best thing for man, as much as a lot of you don't want to hear this, is your own wife. Etzem atzomai. No, the famous joke, but we're here in the middle of Yevamos. Because Baruch Hu asked Adam, do you want a wife? He said, yeah, but how much will it cost me? He said, an arm and a leg. He said, what could I get for a rib?
It's not a fair comparison. You can have in-laws.
Oh. Zok the Gemara, you're waiting since brachas to say that. Zok the Gemara. What's v'nivruchu v'cha? So there's another lashon, not just bracha. What's a vrecha? So if you look at the chart here, this is a brecha. You graft a piece of wood, you put it into the ground. Now, if you remember, when we learned Rosh Hashanah, I did this to show you, to remind you. Anybody remember what the other picture is? Why is it called a brecha? No, what picture was there? Look at this. Brecha. Because it's a knee. It's your fault. Look over there. You look that way. Oh, you see? Okay. So the Gemara, what are the two brechos? HaKadosh Baruch Hu grafted into Klal Yisrael from the Goyim. What do you graft? Rus Hamoyavia, our mother, you see, Rus Mamish coming up the yard side. I mean, it was the yard side, but it's soon Shavuos. Rus Hamoyavia, V'na'amo ha'amoynes. Na'ama ha'amoynes was Shlomo HaMelech's wife, and Rashi brings her all the kings that came out of her. Chava, Chizkiah, Asa, Yeshaphat, Yeshayahu Hanavi, all the greats. A lot of greats. Even those who live on the land, in the land, some want to learn that it means in caves. In other words, the brach of Klal Yisrael is even when they're hidden underneath. It's not just what you could see. They're blessed because of Klal Yisrael. All the nations on earth. What does that mean on earth? Afilu sfinos. It doesn't have to be on land, it's on earth. Even the ones traveling in Europe over there, on the oceans, the bracha far out in the sea comes from Klal Yisrael. All the diamond dealers and the doctors, where there's only the necessity to live. You don't need money. You don't need a lot of money. You just need to live. So people are just going to work the ground a little bit, make a few little wheat, and just to survive. And the rest is going to be you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They're all going to stand on the land and work the land. Now the Gemara goes into the whole thing. In those days, they used to farm the land. It was a big thing. It says, don't do that. Try to do business if you can. It's going downwards. He saw that they plowed. If you plow, think about it. If you want to plow your land, you want to make sure that the tractor, the horse, the bull, the plow is not going to turn the least amount of turns, because every time it turns, you lose ground. So he saw that they plowed it sideways, and they're planting cabbage. So he said, even if you would have done it the proper way, it's better to do business than to plow the land. Rav Alabeni Shivlei, he was walking there between the rows of the produce, he saw that they were shaking, they were blowing, so he spoke to them. You could shake and show off as much as you want. The wheat was going like this. Doing business is a lot better than planting. 100 zuz in a deal. You'll drink. You'll have meat, wine, all the good stuff. But if you put your money into agriculture, you're going to have salt with unripe grain. You're going to have to sleep on the ground because somebody has to watch your wheat. And you're going to have a lot of fights with people. This guy says it's my land, you're planting into my. It's too much. Zora Beloy Tazbein. It's better that you should plant yourself and not to buy. Because you have even though you might come out, it's going to cost the same. So why go through the whole hardship of planting? It's better, you have more bracha on what you plant. Some say because you're not counting it. Once you go and you purchase it, so they weigh it, you know exactly what. Zabin veloy tezel. You should sell your stuff off and don't become poor. If you have goods to sell, hanamili bistarke. Things in your house, you have a drill, you have some tools, sell them off. Avaglima, but not your clothing, lemisramile, because you might not find something that fits you like that. Tum veloy teshapetz. If you have a small hole, don't do a shiputz. Don't fix it. In other words, the pashta meaning is, you have a hole in the wall, take plaster, Rashi says the word plaster, take plaster and cover up the hole. Instead of breaking it open and putting in a nice brick. I think as a contractor, I think the Gemara is saying very simple. If you have a bathroom that needs a shiputz, don't do it. Because if you have a bathroom that you do, then what about your kitchen? And before you know it, you just redid your whole house and it cost you $2 million. So just leave it as is in Shalom Yisrael.
One of the most expensive words in real estate.
What?
One of the most expensive words in real estate.
Which are?
While you're at it.
While you're at it. That's Jonathan Stefansky, by the way. Our cousin. Shalom. He's the one that stole the Stefansky.com website, but he's also the one that came up that
25 years ago.
You didn't ask him Rishos. But he can't, but he paid back. He came up with the line that we brought Stefansky's to Torah and we took it away. What's the line? How's the line go? From Tuna to Torah. That's what he's famous for. Everybody loves that line. Every Stefansky. Zakti Gemara. Right. everybody knows if you try to build and you try to renovate, it's you'll lose a lot. It's always double the time that you think it's going to take and double the money, at least. You should jump and buy real estate. But be very patient when you marry your wife. You should always take a woman that's below you, because then she'll respect you. If she comes from better yichus, better this, better that, then you might have a hard time with her. But when you acquire friends, go up a darga, and over here is a good time to tell people that you should always look for mentors. Friends that are mentors, friends that could help you out in Yiddishkeit, in business, whatever it is. Omer Belazar Ba'avino, and Puronas Ba'lo'ilam El B'Shvil Yisrael. Klal Yisrael, when there's a tsunami in Thailand, it's for Klal Yisrael. Yes, they deserve it, but it's a warning to Klal Yisrael that we should fix our way. Shenem Echrati Goyim Noshamu Pinoisam, Echrafti Chutzoisam. Uchsiv, Amarti Achtiri Oisi, Tikhi Musar. You should take Musar, you should take a lesson from what happened over there. Don't let, anytime you hear of a disaster or something, oh no, it happened over there. No, it's Tikhi Musar, you have to take it in. Rav Abba Miftam Rebbe Chia. This is the story. I heard the story many times from my father, and he said a good pshat, and I don't remember what it was. Rav said goodbye to his son, Rebbe Chia. Omar Lei, so Rebbe Chia gave him a bracha to his father. Rachmana litzlach memida de kashim emaisa. Hashem should save you from something worse than death. Now it sounds like a very nice thing, but it's a backhand kind of bracha. Hashem should save you from something that's worse than death. What could it be? What's worse than death? Nofak Rav, the father, went out. Dok v'ashkach, the Gol Hador. He went and he thought about it. Oh, I chap what he tried to tell me. Oh, he's probably telling me that I should have good luck with my current wife, who's worse than death. Rav Havakom Mitzar, which is his mother. Says the Gemara, Rav Havakom Mitzar Ledvisu, his wife used to chap him. She's a terrible woman. Ki Omar lo avidili tloifchei of the leichimtzei. There was only two options in that house. It's either lentils or beans. But even in those two options, whenever he said, I want lentils, she would make him beans. When he said beans, she made him lentils. Mamisha, Isha Ra. And you think you have it right, bad. Two options, lentils and beans. When he got older, he would go and he'd lie to his mother and he'd say, Daddy wants lentils. But he really wanted beans. So maybe she would make him beans. So Rav tells Chia, she's doing tshuva, she's getting better. Whatever I ask her, she makes me now. He wasn't like that all the time. I know the I'm the one. I did a trick. Oh, gewaldig, you did great. From you, your own children are going to be smarter than you. They're going to teach you how to do it. But you should know, it's not proper. Shenemar limdu l'shoinom daber sheker. You're teaching how to do sheker. Now, let me ask you something. Rav didn't know how to. He knew that every time he said lentils, it's beans, lentils. So he didn't chap. Well, he needed a son to teach him. Now, so I think you could see a very, very interesting thing here. Rav was being mechanech his kid. Now, instead of grabbing his kid and putting him over his knee and start whacking him, he said, "Wow, tremendous chap, mamish goinus." Oh, but it's not so good to do this goinus. I think that's the pshat there. Well, he didn't know how to do. He first gave him a compliment. First, you give a compliment, even when the kid does something bad. First, you give a compliment. And then you give the musar, you give the shtoch. Now it does say that Rav Chia had a big problem. Rav could have flipped it, because Rav, he could have just fooled her. But Rav Chia said, my father wants beans, but it's not true. His father wanted lentils. That's a lie. Because he was saying what did the father want, so that's a bigger problem than Chia himself. This is, I think, the Marsha says. What?
The son is allowed to say a lie.
Right, they go into it. Dr. Shalom, not Dr. Shalom, yeah. But it's still, so that's why it's not a sheker gomor, but it's limdu l'shoinam. You're teaching yourself how to say a lie. Reb Chia have a commentary d'visu. Reb Chia had problems with his wife, yet when he found something in the marketplace, Soyerle besudre, you would wrap it up nicely in gift wrap. Umaisin ahala, and he'd bring it as a gift to his wife. Omle Rav. So it's mamish brokar davur. They both fell in. Maybe I was thinking it could be stam shtusim because Reb Chia did this kind of game. So the Gemara says what happened to him. He also fell into it. Why are you buying presents for your wife when she's a terrible wife? Omarle, this must be one of the most famous lines in Shas. Dayenu shemigadlois banenu. Isn't it enough that she brings up our children? Umatzilois oisanu minachet. Yes, she's a terrible wife. But look, she saves us from these two things. I want to give myself musar here. Myself. And that is Eli. Maybe not like that. But a lot of times I bump into people and I notice the chesroinus. And the Gemara is telling us, everybody has chesroinus. But what are the milas? Try to find the two milas, the two minimum things. She brings up your children. She makes your life mamash gehenim. I get it. But lamaisa, she brings up your children and she saves you from chet. That enough. You should look in a very positive way and buy her presents. Zok the Gemara. Oh yeah? How do you know? As I stated in the article?
It's not Rebbe Chia is the uncle. It's not Rebbe Chia Bara. Rebbe Chia is
Interesting. Rabbi Steinhardt is saying that it's not Reb Chia that we said before, the son, it's Stam Reb Chia, even though it goes right after another. It's very tricky if so. Okay. Does the article say that? Check it out. Sponsor, turning to Daf Yomi, sponsored by Moshe Horn in honor of the Gold Star Moti Donut. Sponsor anonymously is Zechus from Moshe Yaakov ben Shoshana in both Ruchnis and Gashmias. Makri le Rav Yehuda Rav Yitzchak Berei umoitzani mar mimavis esisha. Rav Yehuda is telling his son, women are terrible. It says the pasuk, worse than death. What does that mean? This pasuk, not all women, but like who? Imach. It's not lashon hara. I'm giving you a perfect example. Imach. But how could that be? A different time, Rav Yehuda taught his son, person is not content until only from his first wife, not from his second wife. The wife he married when young. And he asked him who? When you got her upset, forget about it. It was all over. But it was easy to calm her down. Different pshatim here, what it means. Maybe she trained herself later on. She was misgaber and she became a different person later. Or and every one of the acts, whatever. It's not a woman who doesn't feed her husband. No, she makes him a good meal. And then right before he sits down to eat, she nags him and curses him out. If she didn't give him food, it's one tzara. But she gave him food, and before he has to hear everything, that's terrible. She sets the table for him, and then she turns her back to him. Some say it's a lashon nekiya, it means something else. When you get married, some people learn this. The chasen, the meichel avonos. The Gemara here says that avinosav mispakikim. They get plugged up. What does that mean? Shenema motza isha motza toiv vayofek. The lashon of yofek rotzim Hashem. I heard once a pshat that it means that they're like a plug. It depends. It depends what you do after your wedding. If you show Hashem that the reason why you're a chayta is because you didn't have a wife and you didn't have the chayma, the protection, and the toiv, and the this and that, so that Kosh Baruch Hu is going to take your avainas and be moichel them. But it's standing there. It's totally vaymed. If no, you don't remember the pshat Abba said there by okay. Tipach hatzmois if you don't get married, okay, fine. But if you show that you'd still over averos, it's not like you get married, Hashem is moichel everything you did until you're 30 years old. It doesn't work like that. How many times have you heard this in the Shara Brachas? They would tell him, matzah or moitza. Did you do a matzah or a moitza? Matzah, d'chsiv, matzah isha, matzah toiv. Maybe you got that pasuk. You got good. Moitza, d'chsiv, umoitza ani mar mimav isha. So the Chafetz Chaim asks, how could a person talk Lashon Hara? They're asking about his wedding. Did you get a good deal or a bad deal? Is she a terrible wife or a good wife? What is he supposed to answer? It's Lashon Hara. Different pshatim. One of the pshatim that I heard, not the Chavetz Chaim, but if a person says, Matza Isha, if you found a wife and you understand that you have to give to this person, then it's Matza Taiv. But if you're Umoitza Ani, if it's all about you and you did it for yourself, then forget about it. The wife is not going to be a help for you. If it's all about yourself, then it's Maves. Omar Rava, Isha Ra, mitzvah legarsha. There's a mitzvah to divorce a bad wife. The chsiv, Goresh Leitz. Get rid of the let's, v'yetz and modain, and then you won't have any fights. V'yishbois din v'kalain, and you'll be free of any judgment and kalain and shame. So, a question: Why didn't Rav divorce his wife? It's a mitzvah to be megarisher. No, she's a let's. So some say that this doesn't apply. Don't. Not everybody should go home now and I learned today it's a mitzvah to megarish you. If you have children, it might be different. Okay, as I saw, that's what they say. If you have a bad wife, but her ksuba's like Jeff, I don't want to say his last name, that Russia. Okay, now he owns YouTube, maybe. He's gonna $36 billion ksuba. That's a ksuba meruba. Ksuba meruba? At the time, it was $36 billion. At the time, what's worth today? She gave a lot of charity. The kids are. What's a ksuba today? Ksuba today is 100 pounds of silver. It's approximately $36,000. So if a person can't afford it, the ksubasa meruba, sarasa betzida. You know what you do? Eitza. Get married to another woman. She'll start behaving. Da'amri inchi bechaverta v'lo besilta. Marry another woman, and then you won't have to have a thorn. A bad wife is like a stormy day, like a cold, rainy day. Shenemar delef tored b'yom sagir. Like you have a big leak in your roof on a stormy day. You try to run away from the rain. You go into your house, and the water is everywhere. You can't get away from it. Veishis midyanim nishtava. Nishtava is a lashon of equal. So, Eishis midyanim, this terrible wife, is equal to like a bad stormy day. Oh, a good wife. Look what the Torah thinks about it. So, if the Torah, if he's comparing it to Mishtayikra, he's talking about the wife herself. So he's saying how great she is. And if it's just a mashal to Torah, so look how a wife, the Torah is compared to a wife. So again, you see that a wife is unbelievable, a good wife. And you see the same thing on the reverse. If it's talking about literally about the wife, the pasuk says how bad she is. If it's talking about Gehenim, then we're using her as a mashal to Gehenim, so it's a terrible thing. Somebody sent me this, I'll just read it. No English dictionary has been able to explain the difference between the two words, complete and finished. Some people say there's no difference, but there is. When you marry the right woman, you are complete. When you marry the wrong woman, you are finished. And if you marry a wife who likes shopping, you're completely finished. Hineni maybe ra asher lo yuchlu lotzis mimena. Omar Rav Nachman Omar Rav Baravua zu isha ra uksubas meruba. The Gemara talks about it over and over. A bad wife who you can't divorce, he's stuck with her because he can't afford to divorce her. Nisonani adonai biyadi lo yuchal kum. Hashem gave me her, and I can't get up. I can't get out of this situation. Omar Rav Chizda Omar Mar Ukfa Barchia. He doesn't grow his own produce. He has to buy, so he never knows if there'll be anything left. Like we had yesterday with Bar Matzia. What was the name? That wealthy woman. What was the wealthy woman's name? Marsa Bas Baisus. Thank you. She was so wealthy, but she couldn't find any grain. Then she went back. She couldn't find this. She eventually died because she didn't have anything. This is terrible. What does it mean that you're in the klalas, right? I'm going to give your children, your sons, your daughters to another nation. Says the Gemara, no. This is the evil stepmother. So a lot of people actually have a lot of sorrows with stepmothers. I have to say that me, myself, my brother also will say that we're very happy with our stepmother. We have a lot of HaKaras HaTov. So we have a stepmother for 20, how many years?
15.
Only 15? Okay. Seems like 20 already. 15 years. But she was only good to us. Only good. We were all married, so it's different. It's different when you have kids in the house and you have a stepmother and she treats her own children differently than those. That's when it becomes a problem. That's what Gemara is talking about. Begoy novel achisem. Begoy novel, a neveladic nation, achisem, a vile nation, achisem. Omar Avchanan barava Omar Rav zu isha ra uksubasam ruba. Again, this woman. Rebbe Eliezer Omer elu at tzedukim. What's begoy novel achisem? These are the tzedukim, the ones that learn the wrong pshat in the Torah. V'cheinu Omer Omar novel beliboy ein elokim. Masisa Tana elu anshe barbario of anshe. Martinoi, Shemahachim Arum Bashuk. It's very interesting. The art school brings that these are people from Africa. They're not so makbid on dressing up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates that. And he brings that's why it's called barbarians. They're barbarians. If you want to say about a nation that they're not civilized, barbarians. From here. Anchi Barbario of Anchi Martinoi, Shemahachim Arum Bashuk, Shein Lecham Bashuk, it's Metoyev Lefnei Mokim Yosem. Person that goes naked in the marketplace is metuav and meshukatz. Rabbi Yochanan Omar elu chabarim. These are goyim that do a lot of tzaras to Klal Yisrael. Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Also chabar levavel. Rabbi Yochanan was the galadar in Eretz Yisrael, but he heard that the chabarim entered Bavel shaganafal. He peeled over and he fell down. Amrulei, don't worry, mikabli shukta. You could bribe them out of it. Oh, so he's very happy and he sat up. So they told him Gozru al Shalish. Mipnei, as Rashi explains, they told him Gozru al Shalish. They made 3 terrible gzeres. So he explained it, says Rabbi Yochanan Mipnei Shalish. I'm telling you why. Because they were over on 3 things. Gozru al Basar al Mipnei Amatonis. So I have a picture here if you want to see on the screen. This is me. Look what 3 years does to a person. Look at that hair. Unbelievable. Not a white hair over there. There was a lot of white. This is my chavrusa, Rabbi Didi Kramer, my Rebbe. He married a Kohen, a Kehenes. So when we did the shechita on Chulin, we shechted an animal. I paid for it. So the pieces were mine, the parts were mine. There's a zraya, there's the forearm, the chayayim, the jaw, and the keva, like part of the stomach. And I gave him the first time in my life, I did that mitzvah, gave him the matana. So and this is talking about in Chutzlar, it's in Bavel. So there's a machlokes if he's supposed to give matanas in Bavel. In those days, they were makbid, and they didn't give matanas. So, by the way, some Sofer says that, how does it apply to us? It doesn't mean kohanim, because we don't have kohanim matanas. What it means is tamid chachamim. And when you don't give money to support tamid chachamim, then you don't get to eat meat. And he says in his generation, he's talking to his generation, he says, we're not supporting the Koil and we're not supporting Tamid Chachamim. That's why the governments are making xeris against Shechita. So they made a xer against Shechita. One of the anonymous sponsors for the Koil, not this month, he doesn't eat meat anyway, so I don't know why, but whatever, there's other reasons. You want to eat meat and feel good, because it says like this, and Am Aretz is not, right, the Gemara Pesachim says, Am Aretz is not allowed to eat meat, unless he supports Tamid Chachamim. Gozer al Mechatzos. They made a ban on all bathhouses. Why? They weren't so careful in tefillah. The Rishonim discussed, does it mean maybe carry on the lighter tefillahs that you can't learn Torah without going to the mikvah. They're digging up the graves. They celebrate Mother's Day. No, I'm just kidding. They celebrate like other non-Jewish holidays. This is digging up the graves. Because of the averus of the living, the dead get dug up. Rava bar Mori ksiv lo yikavru l'doimen al pnei adama yu. They're not going to. In one pasuk it says they're not going to bury them. They're going to be like dung. Mamish, like nobody cares about if a dog does something on the ground. Nobody's going to pick it up. It just stays on the sidewalk. People are going to die, and that's how they're going to stay. So why would people choose? It says in another pasuk, they're going to choose death over life. So he says, no, it doesn't mean that the people are going to choose death over life. As they see it, they see dead people in the street. Why would they want to die like that? It means that I'm telling you that it's the Navi saying. The Navi saying it's better for you to die today than to live and do Averis, because you're going to pay very dearly for it. Because of a Sefer Ben Sira. So there's a Sefer called Ben Sira, then he says, he's an author. There's a big shayla in the Gemara, you're allowed to read it, you're not allowed to read it. But obviously if the Gemara brings it here, then these are the parts that you're allowed to read and you're supposed to read and supposed to learn from it, but other parts are not so good. Isha Toiva, if you have a good wife, Matana Toiva Labala, that's a great gift. Uchsiv Toiva b'cheik yirei elikim tinasein. Uchsiv Toiva b'cheik yirei elikim tinasein. Isha Ra, bad woman, Tzaras L'bayla. She's like Tzaras. What do you do if you have a bad wife? You go Shenov, Yisrab and Tzaras. The only way to get out of Tzaras is to divorce her. Isha Yafa, beautiful wife. Ashri Bala, fortunate is the husband. Mispar Yomov Kiflayim. It's as if, Rashi says, as if he lived a double life. Keep your eyes away from Eishes Ish that has a charm. Pen tilokibim tzudasa, so you don't get trapped by her. Al tait etzel bala. Don't go to her husband and drink with him, because then he'll meet her. Because of these beautiful women, many have fallen. Many are victims. Many fell to the peddler. The husband is not home, and the guy knocks on the door to sell besamim. Women fell. I think the pshat is over here. Kenitzoitz. The taiva starts out very, very small, like a nitzoitz, a spark, but then the damage is tremendous. It burns everything around. Kechluv malioif, like a how do you say kluv? What? A cage. A cage. A what? A coop. A bird coop. Like, oh yeah. Full of birds. Came Bateya, Malay, and Mirma. These peddlers are full of sheker, al teitzar tzoras machar. This is good advice. Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know if you're going to be around tomorrow. You're not going to be around. What good? You're not even going to know what happened tomorrow. So worry about today. Worry about what you're going to do. Don't worry about 5 years from now. And good things you should, but not. Don't worry. Stop worrying. Start living. Don't let so many people come to your house. People you don't know. And don't let everybody stay in there. You should have a lot of friends. However, Galei Soid Le'echad Ma'elef only tell secrets to 1 out of 1,000. Omer Rebasi. As we had yesterday. Mashiach is not going to come until all the neshamas in a place, in a storage facility called Guf in Shemayim. Baruch Hu has Rashi here, over here actually explains it better. He says, there's a certain place there that separates. But kids, there's a lot of neshamas there. Or there were a lot of neshamas. Shenema kiruach, but Mashiach is not going to come until every single neshama leaves the storage. Shenema kiruach melefana yatov. The reason why there's no geula now, kiruach melefana yatov neshamas ani osis, because the neshamas are still here. Tanya Rebbe Lezer Omer, if you don't have children, it's as if you murdered. Shenema shev dam adam ba adam dam yishavech. Uchsibasrein, right away it says vatem pruruvu. Yaakov Omer kilu memat admus. You're kaviyachol. Making smaller the tzelem elikim. Shenema kiv tzelem elikim osas ha'adam. Chsibasrei vatem pruruvu. Ben azay omer, it's both of them together. Kilu shev damim u'memayit admus. Shenema vatem pruruvu. Arbor loy ben azay. This is mamshen neis that we're able to get to the end of the Amud on such a large agat daf. Arbor loy ben azay yeshno dorish v'no mekayim. There are people who give great drushes and they do as they preach. They practice what they preach. No mekayim and no dorish. Or they don't preach, they don't give good drushes, and they don't. You don't practice what you preach. I'm not married. They're yelling at him. How come you don't get married? Don't have children? You're dashing, telling everybody to have pruruvu. I'm completely involved in Torah. They explain he doesn't even have taiva. He wouldn't be able to do anything. He's not in the parasha. It's a different man, the Omar, but it's the same thing. Kilu mimayt admos, kilu kaviyachal, taking away from the Shechina. Benazi oimer, Omer le benazi, shnar dairesh v'chulu. Have a wonderful day.